talked about schools, but even if you just walk
Very
out...
complicated agenda.
Does it actually mean anything at all?
Okay, this is right or wrong, but it doesn't actually follow it.
We've been in recession for a few years now.
Real stories,
We learn from one another.
real issues. Is Islam a threat? And real views. This is Real Talk.
In our local parlance, there is an adage that says, the sheep that whines and dine with the dog has a tendency of consuming feces. According to a report by Firewall 2022, it stated that about 85% of people have one encounter with peer pressure. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Real Talk Africa, and my name is Shoyoye Idris. I'm not here alone. I'm here with panelists from all spheres of life, whom we are going to be discussing peer pressure and its intricacies. From my left is a medical practitioner and a consultant in one of Nigeria's foremost hospitals, in person of Dr. Taufik Sani. Dr. Taufik Sani was also a former Sadar of Majlis Kudam Ahmadiyya. You're highly welcome to this show.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're highly welcome to this show. Also in our midst is the current Sadar of Majlis Kudam Ahmadiyya Nigeria, in person of Mr. Abdul Rakib Akitunde Akinyemi. You're highly welcome to this show, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The last but not the least is the chairman of National Youth Council of Nigeria, Lagos State Chapter, in person of Comrade Biliaminu Oba. You're highly welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Of course, I'm not going to forget my ecstatic audience. Audience, you're highly welcome to this show.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before we set the ball rolling, it is important we listen to the voice of the people as far as this topic is concerned, peer pressure. We need to ask ourselves, what is peer pressure? What are the intricacies? And how can we move or pivot ourselves through the intricacies of this peer pressure? Stay tuned and don't touch the dial.
Peer pressure can be defined as the influence given to an individual probably because of the societal norms. So, and it can be something like the influence of somebody to another person. And this can be, it can be a positive way and it can be negatively. So,
like for example now, when your mates are doing fine and you are not doing okay in some aspects, you'll be feeling this kind of pressure. Peer pressure can also be seen as where your friends or your peers are giving you that pressure, like, okay, come and do this with us, come and do that with us.
There are some specific challenges, just like students from other religious settings like Christianity and the likes. Of course, Muslims also have some specific challenges that they face in educational institutions. And some of them, one of them, I'm going to mention some of them, one of which is peer pressure based on the dress code.
So I've experienced peer pressure as a young Muslim in a positive way, whereby the friends I make when I came into the university, the department, I like especially Islamic studies education. So the friends I meet, the way they behave, their behavior influenced me in a good way, actually, not in a other way around.
There are several ways in which peer pressure actually affect the choices and decisions of people in the community. For example, the parents is also as a cause of peer pressure in the youths in the community. For example, when a parent do not train or treat a child properly, that child is actually exposed to being influenced by people in the society.
And one negative thing about peer pressure is that, for example, people are pushed into drug abuse, they use substance, they use all sort of just to feel calm because they tell them that, okay, if you use this kind of substance, you'll be feeling okay.
Most of the bad things being inculcated by Muslim brothers and sisters, they are found on the social media.
And also the social gathering. In some gathering in school setting, they might involve in some activities that conflict with the belief and indoctrination of a good Muslim. Like, for example, they might engage in some activities or even serve some food like alcohol, like pork, which a Muslim is prohibited from eating such.
Peer pressure is just something most young ones or the youth they are faced today because of, for example, the iPhone, the clothes they wear. Peer pressure can put you to a step ahead whereby, okay, because they are laughing at me, I'll be the better version of myself I was today or I was yesterday. So today I'm going to be the better version of myself.
You're welcome back. As you can see, so many people have something, one or two, to say as far as peer pressure is concerned. I will now move to my guest to ask cogent and thought-provoking questions as far as peer pressure is concerned. You can always work with me. Dr. Taufik Soni, what is peer pressure in its simple terms? And what are the common forms of peer pressure that young people actually face in this our time?
Thank you. Peer pressure is a form of behavioral or attitudinal change that occur due to the influence of the peer of that individual. And a peer is defined as individuals whom together one is in social relationship with. That social relationship may be by age, by education, by class, or by other social status. So when individuals move with people in his or her social status, they can actually have influence on his behavior and attitude, and that's what peer pressure is. And it's something that will be witnessed by everybody that has something to do with people. We can't live as an island. We cannot be in isolation. So we need to interact with people at school, at our place of work, at home, with our neighbor. So one way or the other, those people we interact with will have one form of influence on us or the other. In fact, people who do not get influence at all are being seen as sadists in the community because somebody must influence you. Who influences you is now what matters.
Who influences you is what matters. Most definitely, you cannot but, mingle with people. Sadar Saab, a lot of people think, or let's say we've established that peer pressure is either positive or negative. That has been established. So, in order not to be, negatively found as far as peer pressure is concerned, what advice or what can you say about parents' role or parental role in ensuring that their kids or their words is not influenced negatively by the peer pressure?
Thank you for the question. Foremost, one thing that is very important for parents to do in managing peer pressure for their wards or children is to have what I call open communication. A parent, either father or mother, must be approachable. You must be approachable in a way that at any point in time your child wants to discuss anything with you, he approaches you, she approaches you openly, you are able to talk to that your child, to hear from him, so that you can manage, coordinate, and guide him properly. And one other important thing is that you as a parent also need to be a role model, because the first teacher that any child has is his or her parent. So if you are not good, in taking care of your child as a parent, there is no way you will not be a bad influence to that child. So it is important that after you communicate, because communication also transcends to how you deal with that your child. And then the way you interact with your child has to do with how you care about him or her. And then that is why it's very important that your attitude that he or she sees on a daily basis, you being the first teacher that he has, should be the one to guide him. At any point in time, he goes out there to meet with different classes of people, he'll be able to manage him or herself because he has seen the best of model from you as a parent. And lastly, it's also important that every parent teaches his or her child when to set boundaries. As Islam teaches us the right and wrong, so as it's required of every parent to let every child know when to say no and say it assertively. When you are being called, you are being influenced on a particular thing that is negative, you should be assertive when you are saying no. You should know when to say no. You should know when to set boundaries. You should know when to walk away. And those are the things that are required of every parent to ensuring that they manage effectively peer pressure, particularly negative side of it for any child.
Yes, they should manage it very well. And importantly, they should learn to say no, especially when it needs to be said. Thank you very much for that beautiful submission, Sadar Saab. Mr. or Comrade Biliamino Oba, as a youth council chairman in Lagos State, perhaps you must have listened or you must have even heard of cases of peer pressure. Then in that situation, I would like to ask you that what are those things, that's challenges that a lot of people face, youth most especially face in their institution, particularly Muslim youth, and how do you think they can actually overcome all this peer pressure, within their in the institution that they find themselves as a Muslim?
The first thing that I will mention is this. Most times as young people, we face issues around our self-esteem. Most times as a youth, you must be able to have a very positive and a very strong self-esteem so that whatever pressure that comes from the society does not override your right thinking. The reason why I'm particular about the self-esteem is because most times, most youth, when you see them, they're not even satisfied with what they have. They are always thinking about someone else have something that is more better than what I have, not knowing that what you have as well can become something that is actually great. So as a Muslim youth, you must stay positive. You must know what you're doing. And one thing that every youth needs to put at the back of their mind is that when you contribute hard work to what you're doing, expect success stories to come after it. Don't doubt your ability. Don't doubt your capacity. Don't doubt your journey. Stay positive and trust Allah in all you do. And lastly, let me just add this to that question that you've asked, is that as a Muslim youth, Islam is a religion of peace. Yeah. And being peaceful as a Muslim youth doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing, or probably you are a coward, or for the lack of a better word, don't see yourself as a coward because you are being peaceful. Part of what Islam teaches us as a young Muslim is to be peaceful and stay dedicated to what we're doing. So alone, the teachings of the Quran alone and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad and its adage is alone to guide you towards the right direction as a youth.
Yeah. Right. Well said, Comrade Oba. You would agree with me that this show has just begun, and we are already getting interesting answers to perhaps questions that are within our minds that have been troubling us since all this while. And like I said, this is a time for us, to learn a lot. And I want to believe my ecstatic audience are listening and they're learning one or two things. Am I right? Beautiful. Now to the next question, Dr. Taufik Soni. As a Muslim, it is believed that we are the best of all mankind. In fact, that is the way Allah said in the Quran. Now, can we say, because we are the best of mankind, can we say we are immune to negative influence of peer pressure? Perhaps we should only be enjoying the positive aspect alone as a Muslim.
We are not immune at all to peer pressure because we are women and we are created women. And not the physiology, the anatomy of woman is in us. So we must behave like women. And Allah also knows this. And that's why in the Holy Quran, in Surah Al-Imran, He advises all, that as Muslim, we should not take disbelievers as friends and neglecting the Muslims. Because if you take disbelievers as friends, they will influence you and you will do what they are doing. Also, Allah also said in another verse of the Holy Quran that, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa kunu ma'as sadiqin. That, oh, you who believe, fear Allah and make sure that you are in the company of those who say the truth. Allah knows that we can be influenced at one point or the other by bad individuals. That's why He has advised us. Don't take disbelievers as friends, as against believers, and also be in the company of those who say the truth. If you also remember, that when the Kafir came to the Holy Prophet
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam,
that they should be in peace, they can exchange the practice of their religion. When you are doing yours, we join you.
Yeah.
When we are doing ours, you come and join us. Allah revealed Surah Al-Kafirun and instructed the Prophet to tell them
Sallallahu
that they
Alaihi
should do
Wasallam.
theirs separately.
Yes.
He will do it separately.
Okay.
For him, it's his own deen, and for them, it's their own deen. Because once you start doing things together, you will get influenced and you will start misbehaving. So we are not immune at all. And once we realize this, we will now be cautious on who surrounds us. Who do we take as friends? They must be fellow believers. They must be people who say the truth. They must be people who knows the truth and want to do the truth at all times. And they must be individuals who knows between the difference between lightness and darkness. So that perhaps, even if we are making mistakes, they'll be able to call us back. Because al-Muslim, not the Muslim. A Muslim is meant to be like a mirror to the other Muslims. So you see the image of yourself, what you should be in your fellow friend. So if you move with people who are of good behavior, you always see the mirror of that good behavior in them. And that influences you to also be a good person. But if you see yourself in the mirror of a bad person, you start thinking bad. Your Bible will say that when they leave, stay with the soap too much.
It becomes the soap itself.
It becomes soap itself too. So when you stay among bad people too much, you can also be influenced with that bad. So we are not immune at all. This we must recognize, and this we must plan against and follow the Sunnah of Muhammad Islam in whom we relate with and whom we choose as friends. So we are not immune. So we must plan to protect ourselves from all those bad influences.
Most definitely, we are not immune, according to him. And that is one of the reasons why we need to be very careful of how we, even when we think we are the best of all mankind, right? We should, be very careful as far as being negatively influenced by peer pressure. Sadar Saab, let me come to you. It's a slogan by the Majlis Qudam al-Ahmadiyya that they are the model for world youth. This slogan, as a model for world youth and every other, has there been some times whereby a particular Kadim or a member of the Qudam, are there been some time whereby they come up with things that you really feel like, okay, you should be able to undo yourself as a model of your? Is there any challenges from them, negatively or positively? You reckon with this thing and we're able to solve it this way. We reckon with this thing and we're able to solve it this way. I don't know if you understand this, my pattern of questions, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. By virtue of training and the system of the Jamaat, it is very important that even if you are a convertee of the Jamaat, probably you join the Jamaat al-Ahmadiyya when you are a Khadim, or by the grace of Allah, you were a born Ahmadi, and you passed through the Majlis at first stage, and you are graduated to Majlis Qudam al-Ahmadiyya. You see that the system of the Jamaat is so beautiful that it trains us what we need to know about Islam generally. And then beyond the fact that the Jamaat al-Ahmadiyya has that system to train us as members of the Ahmadiyya community, it helps us to grow intellectually. And of course, it guides us to know the ethics and values of what's expected of us in Islam and in the society at large. So which means that at any point in time, when I go out there to meet with anyone, those values which I've been trained with will always set in. And definitely, there has been several occasions where members of Majlis Qudam al-Ahmadiyya have continued to stand their ground to ensure that they maintain those principles and quality values of Islam. Personally, even before I was appointed as Sadar, I know people who have recommended into businesses, into working with different companies. And then I got feedback from which, particularly, I can mention some. I may not be able to mention name, I may not want to mention name, but I know someone who, when I recommended him, he was to work somewhere in Lagos because of his a quality attitude and the way he related with his boss, whereby other people were committing financial fraud. He stood his ground to say, oh, this is the real deal that is happening. And the boss actually said he knew about it. But the guy who is a Khadim stood his ground to maintain quality Islamic principles and values. Because of that, the boss said, let him go and undo or head the branch in Kano State, northern part of Nigeria. And then, by the grace of Allah today, the brother is also in Tanzania, who is also working for the same organization. So you can see that even though he was about to be influenced by his colleagues at work. He stood his ground. In fact, he was telling me everything as it was they were happening, and I was giving him advice that you have to continue to be the right person that I know you of. And by the grace of Allah, he's working outside the country, and it is the same company from one place to the other, and so many other things. And we can definitely learn that from the value and teachings of some of our prophets, and then particularly Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, who stood in ground as a young man with quality Islamic principle and ethics to say, oh, you, my father and his people, then you must discontinue worshipping none but Allah the Almighty. And then as a young man, he stood his ground. And that is one lesson that we need to learn from our prophets, and particularly Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Definitely there will be influences, there will be societal influences, there will be pressure from different angles. But the Islamic cultural values that we've learned, particularly in the Ahmadiyya community, will always guide us at any point in time to protect ourselves and ensure that we are safe from it.
All right. Jazakallahu khairan, Sadar Sab. Well, you've heard it. Practical experiences from a lot of people that even the Sadar has shared to us, one of the things some of the members of Majlis Qudam, has shared to him, which is interesting. And that is telling us that why some people are finding it difficult, to go through influences, negative influences, or to overcome negative influences of peer pressure. Some, are finding it interesting, to overcome it easily. Though it's not that easy, but then they are doing it with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before I come to you, Comrade Obabilian Mino, it is important to tell our audience that this is Real Talk Africa. And we are actually talking about peer pressure and its intricacies. Like I said earlier, I'm not here alone. I have my ecstatic audience with us in the house, of which at the point in time, there will be an interactive section with our panelists where they get to ask questions and tell us some of their experiences in the outside world. Once again, this is Real Talk Africa, and I am your host, Shoyoye Idris. Comrade Oba, I want to ask, as a chairman of NYC in Lagos State, we had a report that some certain things happened some few years back that almost plunged the city of Lagos into something, perhaps the old country, into a chaotic situation, And some argued that perhaps it's a fundamental, perhaps the fundamentals or orientation of the youth in that very particular country or state is not good enough. As a youth chairman, in what ways do you think, as a youth, we can manage our agitation towards our leaders? We can manage, ways by which, we ask, we demand for things. Because whether you like it or not, these places are these situations are where we find out that people, get pressured, to do one thing or the other. So how do you think we can manage the situation?
All right, thank you very much. The first thing that comes to mind is this. It comes in two ways. For me, I don't fault any agitation. I don't fault when people are agitating for what is right. The NSAS agitation was a very positive one.
Yeah.
Because when the NSAS protest started, was basically for us to address the issues of police brutality.
Definitely.
And the level of police brutality in the country was so enormous. It wasn't a Lagos problem per se. It's a national tragedy.
Yeah.
So what has happened is that, while you're agitating, sometimes there should be boundaries.
Yeah.
There should be a kind of limit to how you agitate. The moment you are losing it, you need to know when to go back to the drawing board and really re-strategize and find a way to relaunch. And part of our problem has always been the political influencing, the kind of political influence into such agitation. And if there were no political influence, it would have been one of the best agitation coming from the youth constituency. Because at that point, the entire youth constituency were tired of the level of police brutality in our society. And also, all over the world, protests is one of those mediums that the people use in communicating their grievances to the government. And protest is recognized by the law. And what we should be preaching is to ensure that whatever agitation that we're embarking on has to be constructive, has to be issue-based, so that at the level of protesting, you will not lose the real message. So that's for me my own position. And as regards to what young people need to do, as youth, you must know the difference between your left and your right. So
yeah, comrade, before you say the final statement on this particular question I ask you, I just want to observe that our viewership is, it's cuts across Nigeria and Africa at large. Perhaps in the Europe too, you're being watched and being listened to. Many might not have understood when you said EndSARS, what EndSARS actually means. I would say maybe you should give us a kind of a kind of insight into what EndSARS is. Short and brief, please.
All right, thank you very much. The EndSARS protest, Nigeria has a special squad by the police called the SARS, the SARS unit of the Nigerian police. That is a special anti-robbery squad.
Yes.
That SARS basically is to attend to special criminal cases in our society. So at some point, those special units, they were abusing young people. They were those youths that knows nothing about a particular crime, are being brutalized, are being abused, and at some point, the youth constituency came together to be like, and felt enough is enough. We need to ensure that the government addresses this particular issues. So that was what led to that. The agitation by the youth by saying that EndSARS. And truth be told, it wasn't a Lagos issue, it was a national problem. Everybody around the whole country were tired.
So we can say that perhaps the EndSARS protest was more of a positive, peer pressure influence than negative.
To an extent, we had a positive intention, but at the middle of the whole protest, a whole lot of things happened, and we lost touch on the real message. And probably because we were carried away, the youth were carried away by the fact that the government were already listening. The government were already listening to the agitation, and we felt, okay, since they are listening, we couldn't manage the whole situation, and it was hijacked by the so-called hoodlums.
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade Oba Biliaminu. Yes, you heard it. Sometimes the peer pressure comes from a very positive angle from the start. And if you're not considering those values that upholds you as an individual, there is every tendency you lose touch. And what starts from a positive peer pressure might actually lead to negative peer pressure over the time. Thank you very much, panelists, for giving us this very fantastic contribution as far as this program is concerned, peer pressure and its intricacies. I would like to move to the audience now. Audience, thank you very much for listening all this while. I would like to take one question or more from some of you, please. All right, please, go ahead.
My name is Ihsan Ahmad Shodeko. I'm a student of University of Lagos, and I'm the president of AMSA Lagos, the Ahmadi Muslim Students.
Okay.
I want to direct my question to the Sadar of the Majlis, the current Sadar of Majlis Qudam Al Ahmadiyya. Yeah. And my question is that considering how the spread of social media in the world today, so what role does social media have in amplifying peer pressure among youths particularly? And then how can we as youth, how can we resist these influences?
Yeah, Sadar, please. In just maybe a minute or 30 seconds.
Thank you very much for that question.
Okay.
for the use of social media as related to peer pressure, I would like to say that it has its positive side and negative side. Let me say that there is no social media platform that you use today that will not make use of any technological gadgets. And then there is always need for every youth to define the need and want. If you fail to define what you need, and then you prioritize what you want over what you need, you will have problem. And then it means that if I want something, it may be that I do not need it. So, but analytically, we should go for things that we need than what we want. So, in other words, every youth is expected to manage his wants, so that you ensure that it matches what you need. Now, on social media, there are different influences, not limited to bad behaviors. It could be of good as well. For instance, today, as we are, one of the values that we can gain from social media is the use of MTA. And then if you look at the MTA as it was established since its establishment, with the MTA, we listen to Akda Salmon, we listen to different programs, one of those that we are doing right now. And then you see that by the time you are getting glued to the MTA, you always get values to whatever you're learning.
When you say MTA, you mean?
MTA is the Muslim Television Ahmadiyya.
Oh, beautiful. For our viewers who are not Muslims or perhaps who are not Ahmadis, so that you'll be able to know that, okay, this is what MTA is all about. This program could actually get, where you cannot even imagine it. Please go ahead, Sada.
So we have a lot of people watching Muslim Television Ahmadiyya across the world. And then if you get glued to the Muslim Television Ahmadiyya, you will always, there is no single program there that will not add value to you. So I'm on social media through that. I may be on Facebook, I may be on Twitter, I may be on any other platform, social media platform, where I'm learning one or two things. It could be that a seminar is organized on any of the social media platforms. But when I'm on social media for promoting anything that is immoral or anything that makes me to lose value, then it becomes problem. We have some platforms where we learn a lot of things, either skills to become an artisan, or you want to learn skills as a corporate person. And all these things, you are getting them for social media. So the major issue that we have among the youth, especially in the use of social media, is placing what we want over our need. Placing what we want over our need.
Thank you very much.
We also get influenced by what people say, what people do, either in terms of the way they dress, probably on music, and so many other things like that. So it is for us to actually say, okay, this particular platform that I am, do I actually need to be here? If I'm not expected to be here, then I need to move to which one is better. Like I cited the case of MTA or any other platform that had values to me intelligently, intellectually, or add value to me on my businesses or any engagement.
So which means we just have to be strategic about what we actually need rather than what we actually want. So we should be able to to juxtapose so that we will choose very well. Another audience, please.
My name is Yakub Abdurraqib,
You're welcome.
400 level student of University of Lagos. So I want to share my experience on peer pressure.
Okay, beautiful.
So, during social activities on campus, whereby my departmental mate tried to influence me to take alcohol, to have fun during the party, or party with ladies that are not married. So they try to influence you and also call you different type of names that you're not experienced, you don't know how to have fun, just to make sure you do that kind of thing they are doing, which is wrong. So that's my experience.
So in the course of telling you to be to do those things, how were you able to overcome your way around it? Then when they call you names, when they stigmatize you with names, how were you able to outgrow it?
Okay, just try to avoid it and just live there to meet maybe your Muslim friend and just have fun with them together, those that understand the ways of life to live. Then those ones, you just abandon them during the social activities.
I also want to ask, have you been able to influence those that wants to influence you negatively into positive way? Have there been any time where you had to influence those that thought they would be able to influence you negatively to a positive influence?
Okay, yes, by trying to talk to them like the alcohol is not good, then there are a lot of bad things in the alcohol that can damage your health. So just try to educate them. Then if they accept, then also try to let them know the ways of life, how to live.
Thank you very much. Please, I would like to take more from the audience.
Okay, my name is Mubarak Salahuddin. I'm directing my question to Comrade Oba. At some point in your life, you must have experienced a positive form of peer pressure or a negative form of peer pressure. If it is positive, how well did you incorporate it into your life? And then if it is negative, how were you able to overcome it? That's my question.
A very deep one.
Yeah, that is why it is Real Talk Africa.
Yes. It's actually a very deep question. And anybody that knows Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, that's Ojere. I actually graduated from Mapoli. And anyone that knows Mapoli, you know that it's not for a faint heart. You understand?
I know.
Mapoli happens to be one of the toughest tertiary institutions in the country.
So Mapoli should be Moshood Abiola Polytechnic,
yes,
right?
Yes, Moshood Abiola Polytechnic.
That is in Ojere,
yes,
Ogun State.
Why I said it's a deep conversation was, you know, as a Lagos boy attending an higher institution in Ogun State, you know, when we first came into, when I was first admitted to study mass communication at Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, we were just trying to be a big boy on campus, and trying to be a big boy on campus attracted the so-called bad boys or good boys on campus. You know, you are trying to be a big boy, and the moment they know that this one is trying to be a big boy, probably is from a wealthy background, and they needed that resources that you have to actually keep their own group going. And at some point, do you know what happened to me one day? I have a female friend, because this is a real talk, right?
Real talk, please.
I actually have a female friend that we do study together. I never knew that she was dating one of the fraternity guys. And at some point, I had issues with the guy, because she was claiming that I was dating the lady, not knowing that we were both studying together. So, do you know what happened to me one day? I was in the lecture theater room, and him and his gang walked into the lecture room and asked me to come out.
Wow.
You know, when I realized that, I was forced to ask the guy, what happened? He said, I should just first obey. I said, me, anything that you want to do it here. Me, I'm not stepping out. And it became an issue. At the end of the day, I had to leave Ogun State, had to come back to Lagos. I told some of my big brothers on the street, and those ones followed me to Ojere then. Probably they know each other. And those ones were able to help me calm those guys. I know this guy is our junior brother. So what I now notice is that the moment they realize that this is who I am, Omalaja, you understand? Anytime I meet them on my street junction, they will tell me to pay for their drinks. At that level, when I start feeling like I'm being seen as say, me too, I want to get power now. Why will you be calling me and say?
You pop it up and
you
want to be in the army. It's like,
me too, I want to...
I'm not getting inside, that is coming.
What's meaning of all this? Why you be treating me like I should be the one paying for the drink that you took with your mouth? So, you know, at that level, I was angry. Like, no, I'll stop paying this bill. And it's like, almost every day, when I'm going to, when I leave my lodge, then when I get to the bus stop, they're always there. So it's like everyday routine. You understand? So what am I trying to say is that at some point I almost joined them. I almost joined them because the orientation they will give you is that when you join us, don't worry, someone else will start paying that bill. So you will stop paying the bill. You understand what I'm trying to say? So and me, from my childhood, there are some things that I don't like. When you are rough, I don't want to have anything to do with you. when I can't see value in you, we can't be friends naturally. If I'm your friend, then I'm seeing value in you.
Comrade, I think this, your experience, is one of the experience that is very prevalent in our universities or perhaps in higher institutions these days. And you know, it's quite unfortunate that many people have, have been initiated into groups that or confraternity that they don't even have, foreknowledge and basic knowledge about. It is always good that you share with us this very important, experience, and I'm sure our viewers would understand. In fact, even if those that have, that have been, influenced into these groups will find a way of living it, because there are groups that are not meant for us as a good ambassador of Islam, as the case may be. Jazakallah. Thank you very much for this important, experience. Dr. Tawfiq Sani, give us briefly, within 1 minute or 30 seconds, some experience that you have that you feel like, oh, this is real talk, please don't forget. Tell us that real talk about this experience about peer pressure.
Okay, let me say that as you move on in life, depending on what you do, you have prayer all over. During my days in school, I did politics. I was president of Olabis on my University Medical Student Association. I got exposed to student union government. And as president, you're like custodian of information. I know a lot of things. And in those days in the medical school, you don't graduate on time.
Wow.
So you are there when there is strike by ASU, you are on strike as the lecturers. When there is strike of resident doctors, you don't go to school. When there is strike by nurses, your academic program is affected. So at the point, I saw people whom were growing together who were actually disciplined initially, thinking that they can't bear it anymore. They were planning that when they graduate, they will get married. But since you are not graduating on time, we start having girlfriends, start becoming promiscuous, sleep with girls and all. And at that point, I look at myself. I was also lucky to be AMSA national president. I thought I can't do this. So the only thing I can do is to get married. So I got married as a 500 level medical student in school. Because I thought if I don't get married on time, with all this pressure on me, I may also fall victim. So instead of me going the other side of carrying girls, I decided to, get married, which is the legal thing Islam asks us to do. My wife then was also a student. So I got married and I moved on. And also as a doctor, moving on, you are exposed to a lot of things as doctors. And when I saw that girls with floor glandular and all that, I was also specialized in obstetric and gynecology before. And that would make you deal with ladies. And I was, in fact, in that department while I was a general practitioner. A lot of women loves me. Dr. Sonny come and examine me. I said, I can't be in this department. I quickly left and went to community medicine department and public health, where I would have lesser dealing with females. And also because I was also president of Association of Resident Doctors. I had a lot of political power while I was doing my residency before becoming a consultant. I thought with the way doctors are exposed to females, it's better for me to be doing the right. So I got married to my second wife. I got married to third wife. The exam has told us, do not fornicate. Instead of you fornicating, be getting married until you get to 4. So there are always peer pressure all around, depending on what your occupation is. And you must find a way of sorting out yourself to ensure that you don't get pressured into doing the wrong thing. And one thing is, move the right people. Because I was a member of AMSA, we move around. So we are influenced by people around us. You always listen to the word of Khalifa. They remind you of those words. And instead of you falling into the pit of the negative things, you actually do the positive things and escape the negative. And if you do the positive things, Allah will give you what others ask. Today, for all of us who are in the school then, the highest thing you can be is a consultant. We are all consultants in the hospital, working and at the peak of our career. We are lecturers of medical students, and we are doing well. And looking back, can say, Alhamdulillah, we've not done wrong thing before we get here. And those who have done the wrong thing, they have also seen that those wrong things are not giving them anything beneficiary. We are all at the pinnacle of our career. And whatever you have done in the past may not be able to go back to change it. And people also look down on you with it. Okay, why? It was growing, it was this, it was that, okay, this was this. So there will always be peer pressure, but when you move with the good people and you have the right orientation, you can always escape those pressure by doing the right thing at all times. So you escape the bad influence of the bad ones among us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tawfiq Sani. Indeed, there are, whatever experiences you have, as far as peer pressure is concerned, negative, so to say, there is always a solution to it. And that solution, once you prefer it, you can always move ahead. And at the end of the day, get to where those people think you can't get to without their own negative influence. Thank you very much for this experience. Sada Sab, What are these experiences? What is this experience you want to share with us?
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. I have two experiences to share, and the first one is actually a negative experience.
Briefly,
in my former place of work, I've seen someone who tried to woo me into gay or into becoming a gay, and then he tried to talk to me, try to influence me because because of the work I do, I relate with him a lot. But he was thinking that I could be influenced because of money. I said no, because it's never the standard I was trained with, either by my parents or the value of Islam. And then at the time when he saw that I was proving so obstinate to bow down to his plea, definitely he said, "Oh, you this boy cannot be able to." So that is, if I got influenced by what he proposed to me, I could have probably become something else. So because I knew that was not my value, that was not what I was trained with, and that's not Islam. And then the other very positive peer pressure is something that I held as self-esteem. And as mentioned by Comrade Oba, every youth has to up his self-esteem. When I was a Tiflu in the Majlis Atfal Ahmadiyya, I used to do my quiz competition for Majlis Atfal Ahmadiyya, particularly for Ibadan Dila and Oyo State in Nigeria. So, and at the time, I wanted to develop how public speaking. And then I felt, okay, coming to Majlis Kudam, it has to be a speech contest I will be doing. And I decided within myself that that's what I will be doing. So when I got to Majlis Kudam Ahmadiyya, any speech contest, either it is the ITIMA or any other contest at all, either at the district level or the state level, I would want to go for it to represent my Mukom. And that is where I started developing ability to speak publicly, even though we have that training from our parents in our mosque and everything like that. But the one that actually happened particularly is one of our brothers who has passed away now, but I was saying Kende Yakin. He was a Naib Ilakoko in Lagos. At the time, when we were attending the same school together, at the time we were handling Jumat service in our mosque in the Osun Polytechnic area at that time. At that time, he would lead Friday sermon in English language. I would lead in Yoruba language. So I felt oppressed, kind of like this brother will always come to speak in English. And I was not very good at speaking English language. So I tried to start developing ability to speak English language to do my sermon. And I started, if you did a sermon this week, I would do my own next week. And that is where I started doing that. And I also identified someone, a colleague in my class, a classmate. I said, okay, you, Abdul Kabir, you and I will continue to speak English anytime we want to communicate with ourselves. And then we started improving. So much that at the time, when there was a crisis in school, because I used to put on cap all through my days in school, and then people call me Afar. I said, at that particular time, the Dean Student Affairs had to call on a Muslim student to lead the prayer. And at that time, we had thousands of students. And I was like, oh, how would I face these people and speak to them? But because of the self-esteem that I've built and the training I've had within the Jamaat and self-esteem I've built with the pressure that I've seen from Brother Kende during the Friday sermon, I said, I should be able to face these people. And by the grace of Allah, I faced thousands of students and I led them in prayer in the Islamic way. And that actually gave me confidence that definitely I can do this. So which means that a positive way for me to develop myself is to see how I can improve myself from this Friday sermon, and then which has now helped me to be able to communicate to people regardless of the number of people that I'm communicating to today for public speaking.
Interesting and very inspiring, I must confess. That is it. If you want to build yourself, you want to be better, join the best or the good bandwagon that would drive your potentials to the best of that you actually want. Thank you very much, Sadar Saab, for this important experience shared. So we are gradually moving to the end of this show, and I would like to take one advice, at least for just a few seconds, from all our panelists. And I will start with you, Comrade Oba. What advice, your word of advice to our audience as far as peer pressure is concerned and its intricacies?
All right, my advice will always be that whatever you do, be sure what you're doing is something that you can defend in the public. Anything that you're doing and you don't want the next person to know about it, then that thing is not something that worth your time. You know, most times we do a lot of things and we are hiding it. We don't want the next person to know about it. That thing that you're hiding means that it's something that is dangerous to you, that is dangerous to your future, that is dangerous to your tomorrow. And don't do drugs. Drugs is killing a lot of young people out there. And trust me, if you dedicate your time to something that is profitable, even not now, at the end of the day, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So don't give up, keep doing your positive things, and the sky will be your starting point. Thank you.
Don't stop doing your positive things, and the sky will not just be your limit, but a starting point. Thank you very much, Comrade Oba. Sadar Sab, your word of advice.
Yes, my advice specifically to the youth is to know when to set boundaries. And then, especially at negative influences, you should be able to be assertive when you say no. And then that will always help you, because you will, at that point in time, exhibit your personal principle and ethics and values expected of you to maintain your dignity, integrity. Because as youth, it is today that we know. We don't know what the future beholds of everyone. So if you have done something wrong today, it may be that in the future they bring it forth to you, and then it may be that thing that will kill you or build you. Thank you.
Whatever you've done now will determine your future. It could make or mar you. So be very careful of what you choose to do this time around. A very good advice from Sadar Sab. Thank you very much. Then, Dr. Sonny, your word of advice, please.
Yes. What is good is clear, supported spiritually, morally, by our culture, and also by the law. And what is bad is also obvious, as stated by God in the Holy Quran, also as stated in our culture, and as also stated by our moral teaching, as also by the law. And most time, all these things agrees. What is good legally is also good spiritually, it's also good culturally. And what is bad spiritually is also bad legally and also bad culturally. So we must be able to know this. And because we've been trained to be Muslims, we've been trained to be good individuals, we are born from good homes. We must always remember this. Let me tell you that because of hormonal changes, adolescent, young individuals are at risk of succumbing to peer pressure. And also because we are now away from home, where we don't have parents. We are now in the university, we are in the polytechnic, we are living alone. Our parents are not with us. So to get influenced by our peers is also very common these days. And also because of social media, we are at risk. We should know this. We should prepare ourselves. We should be always prayerful to Almighty Allah to support us in achieving our dreams. And while we go through our daily lives, we must remember the son or daughter of whom we are. We must not forget the training given to us at home, and must not forget the training of Islam. And as we also grow in the world, we must always remain connected to Islam, remain connected to Ahmadis as members of this community. If we do this and we are prayerful, Allah will always guide us, and we'll be happy at the end that we have taken the good path and we have done good things in the world.
Thank you very much. And I say a very big Jazakumullahu khairan to my audience and to our panelists. It has been a wonderful discussion segment of Real Talk Africa. And the topic for today's show was peer pressure and its intricacies. And I'm very sure each and every one of us have one or two things to learn. We have learned that no matter what, no matter how negative people surround us, we can always make our ways and come out positively. These and lots more are things that we've been discussing since the beginning of this show. For questions or feedback, inquiries, you can always send a mail to us at africa@mta.tv. africa@mta.tv. Till another time we come your way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And this is Real Talk Africa.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.